What's up everybody and welcome back to another video. It seems like it's been kind of a while, which I think it has been. I've been doing taxes, which is just so much fun. But now I'm back and hopefully better than ever. I'm not better than ever, but moving right along. So today is going to be the final video regarding the 18-135, which I've done like 4 videos on, and now this is the 5th. But this is the final video, which I am probably the most interested in. And I know you guys are very interested in it as well because I've gotten tons of requests. And that's comparing this lens to the 18-105, which was Sony's previous APS-C zoom lens. So these are pretty much direct contenders, and mostly this one cannibalizing this market because they're the same price and essentially the same lens. So we'll see how they go. So there are a few notable differences between the two of these lenses. One of them is nice and shiny and metal. One is fairly plasticky. One extends when you zoom, the other does not. One has got a mechanical zoom function. The other one is all driven by wire, so there is no movement, although this is electronic. One has got a gigantic, beautiful front element, and the other one has got just an okay front element. This lens is heavier by a small amount, but it is noticeable on the camera because you have got such a big front element so far away from the camera body that you can really feel it when you've actually got it on the camera, which was kind of a surprise. I actually was just thinking of that before I started this video, like what's the difference between these two lenses on the camera, feel in the hand, and surprisingly enough, this feels quite a bit heavier, so take that for what it's worth. So the 18-135 is pretty much smaller in every dimension, which that makes a pretty big difference when you're shooting for a compact kit. Both of these make great travel lenses. Both of them have their strengths and their weaknesses. The strength of the 18-105 is that it is a constant f4 aperture, so you're going to be able to shoot in lower light and at faster shutter speeds in general. The 18-135 is a variable aperture from 3.5 to 5.6, so you're going to have to crank your ISO up if you want to shoot in low light, and you're going to have to be careful about your shutter speed. The 18-105 is a power zoom lens, so you zoom in and out with this little toggle on the side, or you turn the zoom ring. All the zooming takes place within the body of the lens, so you can see it zooming in and out there, but nothing protrudes past the end of the camera lens. It is kind of slow. Zooming, you have to crank this thing 2 or 3 times for it to finally get all the way zoomed in and out to where you want it. You see that keeps moving all the way to about the 3rd turn. So that's one of my biggest complaints about this lens, is how many times you have to turn it to actually zoom in and out. It's not that big of a deal, but it's kind of annoying. I've had this lens for over a year now, and I have not been disappointed in any regard with it, other than the slow zooming ring. The 18-135 on the other hand has got quick mechanical zoom, a manual focus switch so you can easily switch to manual focusing, and Sony boasts that it's got corner to corner sharpness, so let's see how it stacks up against its biggest competitor and older brother. Also, for those of you who noticed, this is a little preview of a video to come, and I've been very happy, so stick around for that video to the lens test. Alright, so we're going to start off with the wide angle side of things at 18 millimeters. If you're curious about any of the settings for the shots taken here, you can look at the upper left hand side of the pictures to see the EXIF data of those pictures. When it comes to the wide angle side of things with these two lenses, they are very similar, nearly identical in the center at all apertures, with the sharpness slightly favoring the 18-105. There is a little bit of chromatic aberration that's apparent on even light contrasty areas. If you look here, you can see a green fringing on this rock, which is not apparent in the 18-135. Moving out to the corners of the picture, you can see that both lenses are quite soft, with the sharpness favoring the 18-105 once again. Taking both lenses to f8, the sharpness is nearly identical now in the center, with the chromatic aberration still slightly hanging around on the 18-105. Moving into the corners, you can see that both of them are still blurry. The 18-135 is still a little blurrier. Let's go ahead and zoom in to 50 millimeters. This is where things get a little weird. So according to the EXIF data, there is 1 millimeter worth of focal length difference between these two pictures, but as you can see, there's a pretty huge difference in the actual zoom. So I don't know where the calibration is wrong. I'm sure it's just the tolerances that the manufacturers operate within, but there is a slight difference there. Both of these shots being wide open, the 18-135 can only manage f5, while the 18-105 stays at f4. Moving into the dead center, the sharpness is pretty identical. If I had to pick a winner, it'd be the 18 to 135. And that trend continues as we zoom in further and further. The 18 to 105 struggles at the longer focal lengths. Moving over to the edges, we can see that we've got the chromatic aberration still being a problem, and the 18 to 135 looks significantly sharper at this point. After bringing the 18 to 105 to a matching aperture of f5, you can see that the sharpness is improved pretty significantly, and at this point I may have to give the sharpness crown back to the 18 to 105. However, we are still struggling with the chromatic aberration over here, but in general the edges look fairly sharp, and I would definitely have to give this one to the 18 to 105. Moving to f8, the pictures are pretty much identical. I don't even think I can pick a winner at this point. When we move over to the edges, the 18 to 135 pulls through and takes the crown back once again. Zooming in all the way to 105 millimeters and matching it at 113 millimeters with the 18 to 135, you can see that the framing is identical now though, even though there's a difference of 8 millimeters. I don't know where my f4 picture went for the 18 to 105, so we're just going to roll with f5.6. Dead center, the 18 to 105 takes the cake. Moving closer to the edges, we can see some significant chromatic aberration really taking away from the image. There's a slight bit on the 18 to 135, but it's pretty well controlled. f8, the centers are pretty much completely indistinguishable from one another, and the corners remain the same. A lot of chromatic aberration going on with the 18 to 105, but the 18 to 135 is quite soft, disappointingly so. As far as macro shots go, you can get much closer to your subject with the 18 to 135, as you can zoom all the way to 135 millimeters at your minimum focus distance, where the 18 to 105, you have to stay below 80 millimeters to get as close as possible to your subject. As far as bokeh goes and how that's rendered, you can see that it is significantly smoother on the 18 to 105 at its f4 aperture, and you can see how distracting and choppy and harsh the bokeh is on the 18 to 135. Here's another example of the 18 to 135 with its harsh circular bokeh and the smooth creaminess of the 18 to 105. This is really kind of a tough call between these two lenses. There's only a $50 difference. This one is $500. This one is $550. So as far as price goes, there's not a big gap. As far as image quality goes, you're going to have prettier backgrounds with the constant f4 aperture. You're going to have slightly sharper images with the 18 to 135. If size is your number one factor, you may want to go with the 18 to 105. If the power zoom for video and remote control zooming is something you need, then the 18 to 105 should be your choice. But the choice is really going to be up to you as to what features you're looking for in a zoom lens. The image quality is pretty much neck and neck, with a couple of differences here and there. So which one would you pick if you had the choice? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for all your support, everybody who subscribes, everybody who's watching this video. I appreciate that and your support of this channel. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.